So
yeah, let's start with this. I think it's each other.
well, last time we lost like some service. Like you had too many things on there. Remember that? The speed wasn't fast enough. Okay, welcome back. Today's an interesting day. This is my final class that we're going to do here. So we're doing something that at least I consider celebratory. We're doing a pasta dish. We're also going to be making a frisee, arugula, an apple salad, and we're going to roast some eggplant. So that eggplant's ready to go. Let's get that in the oven first. So I kind of walk you through what I did here. So this is just a little bit of olive oil, salt, pepper, thyme, oregano, all together here. You can really go with any spice mix you want. I wanted to keep it more Italian, more Mediterranean, because that's kind of the flavor profile we're going with. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, so we're going to pop this in at what, 425? And we're going to kind of let that go for now. So our pasta is an interesting one. So we're going to be, it's a play kind of on like puttanesca, but not really. Because there will be the caper component. We're going to put it over spaghetti, which is usually where you'll see puttanesca, kind of over like a spaghetti or a linguine. I prefer spaghetti, but that's personal preference. We've got the caper component, which I love, that bring that kind of briny saltiness. That is always delicious. I actually kept some of the brine, as you can see, to kind of add some of that saltiness with a little bit of acidity. I love using capers. We're going to make a vinaigrette to go over the salad. That's going to be frisee. It's going to be arugula. It's going to be... Oh, no, I have a dish. Sorry about that. Frisee, arugula, apples, and then toasted butternut squash seeds. So check this out. So these I actually made butternut squash earlier this week, right? And I kept the seeds so I can roast them and then put them on top of our salad. So it is very simple, just salt and pepper, but these are loaded with things like zinc, copper, potassium, a bunch of different vitamins that are super nutritious, and they already come in the squash you get. So save them, roast them. They're delicious. I highly recommend. So with that in mind, let's get started here. So you can see potentially in the back, I do have water going. That's going to be for our pasta. And then in our pan here, we're going to build our sauce. So our pan should be hot. Another few seconds. And in that time, I'm just going to grab a bowl to make our salad. And oh, sorry, wire issues. This is something that will be fixed, I believe. So I just got to move this a tad bit closer. Okay, we should be good to go here. Okay, so let me drop this down a little bit. Beautiful. So this is hot. We're going in with our garlic and onion. Beautiful. Just a pinch of salt. And then no olive oil today. We're using that to roast. We might use a little bit for our vinaigrette. So a little bit of water. And we're going to kind of let this go for a few minutes. I was going to heat up that water. I guess it was a little bit cold, but this will cook. So while that's going, we can get started on some of our salad here, which is going to just have to rinse this off very quickly. I like using frisee because frisee is nice and crunchy. It's got a bite to it. It's a little bit bitter. And I think it's a nice alternative to like regular lettuce from time to time. I love it. Some people use it like almost as a garnish. I actually like it as a salad base, but that's again kind of my opinion where I fall with it. So cut this. We're gonna add it to our bowl along with this arugula. I know it says it's washed, but we're gonna wash it again anyway. Triple wash, but one more time. I prefer washing it myself. And again, just like a nice, like spicy, easy base to a salad. I like the flavor of arugula. I think it's my favorite of all the, I guess, lettuces out there. But I don't love it as a base as much. Unless you're going to eat it right away, because it really does wilt very quickly. So you kind of lose, you know, some of that crunch and crispiness. And it's also why you kind of have to wait to dress whatever salad you're adding arugula to, because you kind of want to eat it pretty immediately. And that's fine, because this is all going to wilt. We're going to add some other stuff to it, and it's going to be delicious as far as I'm concerned. So while our onion goes, I'm just going to give that a stir. We're going to make a quick kind of vinaigrette for our salad here. So I need a bowl. So here, let's bring this around here. We have a couple lemons. I'm going to move this because this stuff is going to be over here. And the capers can move. Good. So the lemons are going to kind of be the first thing we do here. So I already rolled these out earlier. So what I'm going to do is just cut them in half. And I know I'm not going to be able to get all the seeds out, but I do have a fork here. So I can kind of fish them out after I juice. And I'm just going to check on my garlic and onions, just kind of as I'm going here. Again, we got a lot of salad, so I'm going with 2 lemons. 2 lemons. I just want to give my garlic and onion a stir. And again, this would be much easier with a juicer, of which I do not have at the moment. Oh, I also have some water going. So today I'm using red lentil spaghetti. As always, I try to find one that's literally just one ingredient. Don't want to make things complicated with this, particularly with grains, as we know, it could be, especially if they're not organic, probably treated with things like glyphosate. That could be an issue. Or that are an issue. So if it's worth spending, in my opinion, the extra money on something like this because you can guarantee you're not getting something that even according to the World Health Organization probably causes cancer. Probably not something you want to be having on a regular basis, in my opinion. So, with that out of the way, I'm just going to add a little bit of water quick, and we'll add the other ingredients to this vinaigrette here. So I'm just quickly deglazing. I'm going to continue to let this onion and garlic cook. Because this is a vinaigrette, we're going to add some mustard. I love adding Dijon, but what I didn't do first is fish out all my lemon seeds. So I got to do that. Which is why I had the fork out in the first place. So, okay. So we're going to add some mustard. And I like Dijon for vinaigrettes. I think it's the best one. I'm going to add, I'm out of tahini, so I'm going to add a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. A little bit of salt. Could always add more. And a little bit of pepper. I'm going to give this a whisk. Wow, that's pretty good. So the next thing I have to do is chop up our apples. So pretty straightforward. The apples you want to keep really until you're ready to mix your salad because we know they oxidize very quickly. But what you'll notice if you add your apples to a dressing, especially one that has an acid in it, vinegar, the juice of something that is citrus, lime, lemon, orange. Because of that high vitamin C content, it's not going to oxidize in the same way. So I like using particularly lemon dressings when I'm using things like apples or pears because they'll prevent that oxidation. But the tricky part is you have to kind of chop the apples when you're ready to dress the salad. Because the longer you let them sit, you'll notice, and I'm sure you've noticed before, if you let an apple sit, it's going to start going brown, and you don't want that. So one apple in. Let's get this other apple in. Unfortunately, I'm not saving too much of this. Now, normally, starting next week, should have enough to start saving for stocks, which I love making my own stock. Especially, in the fall and winter. If you use like the base of something like a butternut squash for a stock, which I love doing, it makes it a little sweeter. Very cool. I absolutely enjoy it. And I'd highly recommend that. All right, so these apples are ready to go. I'm just going to stir my onion and garlic very quickly. Then we're going to dress this and add our pumpkin squash seed. One of those seeds. That's nice because I really want to cook these onions down a little bit. So giving them a little bit of extra time here I think works. So I'm going to add our seeds in. And then can move this out of the way. Nope. Now I'm going to leave that on. We can bring our big salad bowl here. And then give our dressing one last mix. Make sure it's as homogeneous as possible. I'm going to grab a spoon. That is good. And we shall mix. All right. So with that, let's come back over here. Let me just fix the setup very quickly. All right, okay. So now we're basically going to bring this sauce together here. So we're going to add our tomatoes. We're going to add our beans, our artichokes, and this is going to be nice because I prefer a thicker sauce anyway. Our capers, so I'm not going to add salt yet, especially because I want these capers to kind of cook down. I'm going to add some water though. We're going to turn that heat up to high while we're adding a little bit of oregano. And that's going to be, I'll have some pepper for later, but that's going to be the base of our sauce here. So we want to let this all kind of cook down, thicken up from the beans, and it's going to do its magic. All right, now our water's boiling for our pasta, so that's going to go in. And we're also going to give our eggplant a toss here. So that's one. By the way, next week, so we're actually going to be doing nachos for the demo. Very exciting. And it's also going to be on Tuesday. So Wednesday is going to be a little tricky for me. That might be the new day. So I might be switching it from Wednesday to Tuesday, depending on the schedule. What's going on when we move. But definitely next week is going to be Tuesday. So I'll keep you posted on that, obviously as this goes, but I will keep you posted. Okay. Well, let's get this little bit of tomato out of there. So let me grab that camera and we'll talk about things going on this week. So as all that comes together, quickly, I got to check on that eggplant. Let me quickly do that. So this is looking pretty good. Bring that camera over here. I'm going to leave it in a little bit longer. I want to give it one toss. And then we could finish up with it. So just want to make sure, particularly those pieces on the bottom, are going to get cooked evenly. The nice thing about eggplant is because it's so dense with water, is that it shrinks, kind of like mushrooms do in that way. So there should be more space, as you cook, for a lot of these other pieces to cook a little bit more evenly. Okay. So I got to move this back. So I can put this in the oven. The sauce is simmering. So I might lower the heat in a minute. And while that's going on, we're going to basically just start cleaning up a little bit. So we have a slight break in the action, basically until the pasta cooks. So, a few things going on this week. One is, as I mentioned, we're moving. So next time we do a demo, it will be in a new location again. So we've done these demos now in either 5 or 6 locations. I'm not exactly sure how many at this point, but it's been quite a few. And next week, we're going to add one more to that list.
Oh, it smells good.
Oh. So that'll be exciting. What I'm not too excited for, to be perfectly honest, is the place we're moving. The one con, if there's one con, it's that it has an electric stove, which is much easier to clean, but a little bit more annoying to cook with. So that's, I'm getting faces made at me in the background. But yeah, so we'll be cooking on electric for the first time since, well, definitely for these demos, but first time I'm going to be cooking on electric since, at least consistently, since chiropractic school. Wow. That's a wow. Luckily, I do have some experience with it, but that's going to be interesting, to say the least. So, it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll have a lot more lights, a lot of more space, and especially those classes, especially if you were there earlier this year, you'll know that there will definitely, I can promise you, there will definitely be more space. So, kind of want this to cook a little bit of a higher temperature. I also want to stir our pasta here. Make sure nothing's sticking. So that will be exciting. So next week we'll be in for a new location, but hopefully a location will be in for a while. So really looking forward to it. and that will be coming next Tuesday. So in other news, what's going on this week is we released episode 120 of The Art of Eating. Now this week we focused on lion's mane mushroom, the brain mushroom. So lion's mane is known for a lot of things, but particularly it is known for its brain boosting benefits. It is really useful. It's mostly known, it's actually able to help regrow nerve tissue, and this is done because it stimulates something known as nerve growth factor, NGF. It also stimulates brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is BDNF, and both of these things you need to stimulate to get nerve production, nerve regeneration, say after an injury or something like that. So you can actually regenerate nerve tissue. Now it's one of the slowest tissues to regenerate, but using something, say like lion's mane, is one of the only it's a fungus, food sources, extracts that can be really useful for this type of thing. So it's super powerful. Certain adaptogens like ashwagandha can be helpful too. But lion's mane is super powerful for this reason. And this isn't the only one. So it's known to have like things like immune boosting benefits due to certain compounds that it has in it, which is very potent. It's also known to be helpful with those who are suffering maybe from depression or anxiety. So it has some kind of mood uplifting effect, which is also very, positive. One thing I've noted, and we're kind of going on this series of mushrooms now on the show, but, one of the hottest topics in health in general is mental health, mental well-being. So, and mushrooms of all kinds seem to be, are the cutting edge of this type of a lot of these new treatments coming out, whether they're in the pharmaceutical space, they're taking extracts, or the mushrooms themselves are getting a lot of attention. And I think this is awesome for just the overall movement towards more plant medicine, more, natural approaches. And I honestly couldn't be more excited because, it seems like we're learning more about mushrooms every day, all different kinds, and they all seem to bring different benefits to the table. So it's really cool. It's a really exciting space to be in. And I'm excited we started off this new series with lion's mane because I think it's one of the most popular or maybe most talked about ones, at least right now. So I would go check out episode 120 of The Art of Eating. It was a doozy. It was very fun to do. And we're going to be doing the next few episodes on a variety of different mushrooms. So you're interested, in plant medicine, if you're interested in, herbal medicine or food medicine, this next series, particularly on all these different types of mushrooms, I think you'll find very interesting. So I hope you go check it out. So I'm just going to finish mixing the salad, make sure everything is mixed well here. And I want to see that sauce kind of bubble away. I want to see it cook down. Wow, that is good. Okay. So let's go in and check on it. Now remember, because we added the capers, I didn't want to add a ton of salt because the capers are going to bring some of that salty flavor component, to the sauce. So you definitely don't want to overdo it with this one. You could always add more, but I wouldn't add too much because you can't kind of take it out once you put it in. And if you do too much too early, you might ruin what you've done so far, and we don't want to get to that point. But I do want this to thicken up a little bit more here. But what I do want is the taste. It's pretty good. Does need to cook a little bit longer, but it is pretty good. In the interim, I can check on my pasta. I don't think we're there yet. I'll go ask my taste tester to help with this, but I do not think this is done quite yet. So I'll be right back. Is it done yet? It's done? Another minute. Okay, so the taste tester says another minute. And that's no problem, because we can let this bubble away, give it a stir. I do think it's going to need a little bit more salt. That's no big deal, because I kind of suspected it might. We're going to cook it on a slightly higher temperature because I want this to kind of bubble off a little bit quicker. But if that's going to be the case, I got to be a little bit more diligent with it. But when I go to, say, strain the pasta, like I'm going to do in a minute, I'll turn down the heat a little bit. Also, one of the reasons why I didn't cover this is so more of that water can evaporate out. Because when you cover it, you're trapping it in. So you're not going to get as much of that moisture kind of releasing. And I want to release more of that moisture. I want to make this a thicker kind of sauce here. Again, this is loaded with fiber. You got the beans, you got the artichokes, the capers, and you could really put olives in this and make this kind of like a play on a puttanesca, but it's a little sweeter because it has the onions in it. Give this pasta one more stir. And this time I'll give it a taste, see where we're at. Oh, almost. Ah, so close. Ah. All right, you know what? I'm going to take a guess. I'm going to do something I rarely do. And take a guess and pull it now. So, what I am going to do, though, is bring this pot over. And we're going to strain our pasta. Woo! Get a nice facial along the way. Whew. That is hot. I'm also going to grab a spoon very quickly. Grab this two noodles that straggled behind there. Now, one thing I did not do, like I said, is I did not try this, which is not something I recommend. So I'm going to grab one. Oh, Diana was right. About 1 minute. Okay. So because I want to stop these from cooking, this is key. I'm going to take cold water, and I'm going to basically rinse my noodles under cold water, my spaghetti under cold water. This is going to stop the cooking process. Now, I'm obviously not going to serve this cold. What I am going to do is when that sauce is done, I'm basically going to add the spaghetti straight to the sauce, and that's going to reheat it up. But if it stays hot, it's going to keep cooking. That's known as carryover cooking. This happens, say, when you roast things. This happens a lot when you cook things like steak or roasts. So because it takes a really long time to get to the center of, say, like a roast beef, when you take it, say, out of the oven and you don't cut it, it's going to continue to cook for, it could be a while. So when you're talking about, you see this a lot with meat when you're letting, say, like a steak rest. That's basically what, it's the same concept here. So if we're bringing this back down to room temperature, it's not going to continue to cook here. We don't want it to continue to cook. We like the texture where it's at. So all we're looking to do is when we're ready to serve, we're basically just bringing it back up to warmth. It's not going to continue to cook. So I'm going to go check on this eggplant very quickly. What I'm going to do first is just move this pot out of the way because we don't need it. Oh, this looks good. And this is looking pretty close to done. Maybe a couple minutes. And then really the last thing we have to do is just grab some parsley as a garnish here. So I'm just going to go grab some and put it in a bowl. But first, gotta give our sauce a stir because it's almost time. For this to be done. I like the texture of where it's getting, the consistency. So we're on to the final stage, final countdown. Parsley. That's what I'm looking for. Oh, whoops. One mistake. Be right back. So I'm just rinsing off some parsley so I can use it as a garnish for our pasta. And usually I chop it, but I'm just going to actually just tear it today. One less thing I have to do. Okay. So our sauce is looking pretty good. So we got to try it now. Wow, that's pretty good. Does need a little bit of salt. So now is the time to salt and pepper this. And then just going to toss our pasta. Very easy. So even though this was a pasta class, we got all the components. A lot more fun stuff going to it, which is nice. A delicious salad with some sweet, some acidity, some crunch, some crunchiness. And then this beautiful sauce. And I like this kind of on the thicker side, but we also got the artichokes and the capers and the saltiness and that's it. Okay, so very easy. We're just going to add our pasta straight in. And we're going to kind of mix. And we're going to call this a day here. So the key here is to, of course, evenly incorporate our pasta amongst the sauce. We want to make sure all of our pasta is as coated as possible. Depending on how you like your pasta, I prefer I guess, saucier pasta, a larger sauce to pasta ratio. So this is a little bit thicker than I usually like it. I prefer even more sauce usually, but the flavors are there. If we mix this well, this is going to make for one, or more likely a couple of nice dinners, especially along with the salad and everything else we put together. So this is what we got for today. So basically just going to mix and serve this up. It's going to be a little bit easier said than done. What I can do is get a plate and get ready to at least show you. So let's get this wire out of here. A little bit of housekeeping. Woo! This eggplant looks beautiful. Beautiful. And just quickly, maybe my pasta one more stir here. So bear with me 1 second. Okay. Wow. It's freaking good. Okay. Let me bring this over here. Okay. So we're going to add our pasta. Beautiful. A little bit of our sauce right on top. Going to add a little bit of this roasted eggplant. If I can find the spoon. Here we go. Beautiful. All different colors, all different textures, and of course, and I just love the fresh herbs, the contrast in color, texture, taste, nutrition. It's a win-win all around. And there you have it. So, for the last time here, thank you for tuning in today. hope you enjoyed it. This one was a lot of fun. Nice way to say goodbye to this kitchen. So I hope you enjoyed this one. If you do, I hope you make it. Tag me on social media. I'd love to see how it comes out. If you like this, think this could be helpful to someone else, please share this because this is a lot of fun. Really enjoy doing it, and I really think it can make a big difference. So appreciate your time. I'll see you guys next Tuesday for lentil nachos. It's going to be fun. Have a good one.